Purchase an eligible new 30 to 450 horsepower Yamaha outboard and get up to 7 years of coverage protection, plus up to $500 in dealer credit, or earn up to $700 in dealer credit on eligible 2.5 to 25 horsepower models. Fall into savings today.
The ultimate fishing authority in the Northeast, the Fisherman magazine.
Whenever there's a scene like this on the beach at Brick this past Saturday morning, the Wagner tune, The Ride of the Valkyries, pops into my head. That's better known, of course, as the helicopter song from Apocalypse Now. Boom, boom, bum, 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 bum. Anyway, I think most of the people were playing nice out there. Did see a few social media comments later on from folks saying, I was there first. That boat never should have come up on me like that. Well, at their striper fishing during a November blitz, the Jersey Shore. Small boats, big boats, private and pro, on the fish and drifting together. I'm Jim Hutchinson with the New Jersey, Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine with this week's report for Thursday, November 20th, 2025. You can see a little gravel in the voice, burning the candle at both ends. And that video was from Saturday with the fleet, as is this video. First light, top of the world, green Ava for Jason Roskowski. Now, we didn't realize that this would be the only action we had for the day. I mean, the first light, and we're like, oh, this is going to be a good morning, but it wasn't. Did find those boats banging fish, no doubt, but still slow on the beach where we were fishing Saturday afternoon. Now, that would all change over the course of 24 to 72 hours. It all started while I was compiling the fishing reports on Sunday for the December print edition of the Fisherman magazine. I was speaking to Phil at the tackle box Sunday morning, who said actually there had been a little bit of a pencil bite, pencil poppers up top for the course of a couple of days. Good action. Few episodes of blitz conditions in Monmouth County over the weekend. But he texted while we were on the phone on Sunday morning and said, this is Jackson Bucco from Monmouth County, Monmouth Beach, a 42-incher on a 5-inch NLBN. So things started to catch fire there Sunday morning into the afternoon. I finish our reports, we go to print, I go to the Eagles-Lions game Sunday night, get back 1:30 in the morning, get some rack time, then we're buttoning up all the editorial on Monday. And like I said, this is our final print edition of the 2025 season. It's in newsstands and tackle shops and marinas, and subscribers, you'll get it in your mailbox sometime this week. But I'm like, at that point, complete shutdown. Completely exhausted. I get some fall bug. So I lay down on the couch Monday afternoon, about 12 o'clock. My wife wakes me up at 6. So you just go to sleep. I've already been sleeping all day, so I go back upstairs. I don't wake up again until 4 a.m. Tuesday. And of course, that was after putting my phone on vibrate.
Jim, get here now. Now.
Because the texts and the calls started coming through, so I was definitely missing something. That all started Monday afternoon, game on. So I hit the beach Tuesday morning with my buddy Eric, the mighty E-Rock. We found our way to Lavalette. It was an anniversary trip. This is where we usually find those fish on November 18th. We weren't finding them there. But we got down to Lavalette and came across the dune, and this is what we were greeted with, this video. Bunker in tight, getting pushed onto the beach at some point. I mean, at first we just saw them blowing up outside, but we were hopeful, and yeah, it happened. And just like that scene with the boats, surfcasters have to contend with a little shoulder-to-shoulder mayhem in these conditions as well. I had a personal connection with my new buddy Horseshoe on Tuesday afternoon. Sorry for the tangled Horseshoe. Winds out of the northwest on Tuesday meant tangled lines are going to happen when one caster's throwing a lighter metal lip and somebody's got a spook on and somebody's got a pencil, somebody's throwing large, somebody's throwing small. So yeah, those tangles are going to happen. You got to learn to play nice. It's all good. Then I bumped into Steve Kalick, longtime Northeast surfcaster, now living and working in Alaska, back for the fall run. We got to chatting a little bit later. He's an old fishing buddy of the late Tim Coleman from the Fisherman magazine. Anyway, I watched Steve nail a couple of good fish on spooks, and he didn't have to show me twice. So yeah, this is how thick the fish were.
Nice.
Blind squirrel got his nut. A couple on the top waters. Big white game on X walk. Top water for me. Slow retrieve. Slow periodic twitch. Not a twitch, but those spooks up top. Just kind of, you get into that little mayhem, that little that format where you want that spook kind of going back and forth on the top. We did the trick. You want to keep that darter going back and forth left to right. Irresistible wobble. And a lot of times when these bunker get pushed down inside the trough, over the bar, those stripers are going to be feeding outside. So in many instances, when there's bedlam right in front of you, you're going to be dropping those swim shads and jigging them or swimming them right in front of you. But then there's also those times where those spooks and those pencils just outside, because those big stripers are outside, and they may not all be pushing the bunker in tight to the beach, but a lot of them are just waiting for the right moment. And if you put a pencil or a spook right in front of them on the outside, that's when they're going to take it. So anyway, we had some good advice from Steve there that day, and a couple of good laughs with Eric. Don't eat the bunker, Eric. But I got to tell you, I spoke to friends Tuesday afternoon. They said it was like National Geographic-like conditions. From Monmouth County, Spring Lake down into Northern Ocean County, Bayhead, all the way down to Seaside Park. It's the right place, right time kind of deal. But my buddy Nick said he got into one of the best metal lip bites of all time in Monmouth County. That too on Tuesday afternoon. That metal lip, of course, that nice slow retrieve, that's got that wobble too. So sometimes that wobble. You want to be going to the beach with all kinds of lures. You want those plastic swim shads. You want the poppers, but the pencils in the Polaris style. You want the spooks. You want the small spooks and larger spooks. You don't forget the metal lips. Of course, you want your SP minnows here and there. And don't forget the sand eels as well, because you never know when conditions are going to change. And the soft shads, the swim shads as well. And when these bunker in tight inside the bar, that's where, like I said, sometimes those top waters really get the trick done. But you want to have everything. Ready to go. You don't have to take the kitchen sink, but it's also better if you're driving the beach, because you can leave so many of your lures in the back of the truck in different boxes like you see folks do, and then have your sling bag that's ready to go. You don't want to be overloaded, but you want to make sure that you're in control and covering all types of situations where you might need something special. Now, I did mention, I've mentioned it for the last several weeks, that the missus and I are going to a bed and breakfast Friday into Sunday. Honey, that's the height of the fall run. It's not going to do any good. Anyway, no fishing gear allowed. And as of Wednesday, when I look at this weather forecast for Saturday, it has turned from west to north. But I don't trust that. I bet you it's going to go west, and I think it's going to be beautiful. And I predict bedlam, cats away kind of bedlam, madness, light offshore winds. That's what I'm predicting. We'll see what the weather forecast actually calls later in the week and what it does bring us. But I think it's going to be fantastic now that we've got these bunker getting molested along the beaches. Again, Ocean and Monmouth County. We may see some periodic blitzes down into Atlantic and Cape May County. But in the last few years, this has been the place to be. From Island Beach up to Sandy Hook. And things are definitely, the fall run has definitely kicked into hyperdrive at this point. After weeks of failed predictions, we are definitely in it. And when blitz conditions, when those fish are in tight on bunker and sand eels and all matter of bait, well, it's nice to get a little bit of professional advice. How about some tips from a surf casting pro? What's in his plug bag? What to throw based on surf conditions, bait in the water, and the time of day or night. On this week's Open Boat with Jenny Ackerman, she had a chance to take a drive with Shell E. Caris.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's Open Boat. We're still full on fall running it here on the Jersey coast. And I have a very special guest with me, my good friend Shelly Caris, who's been fishing literally since like the 1950s. He's born to fish and he's been fishing for a very long time. So he's gonna share what he has in his plug bag. And of course, I mean, how many 50s do you have under your belt?
Quite a few.
Quite a few. So he knows what he's talking about. Someone who's been fishing for this very long a time, you're honed in on the fishery. So
right.
Share some of your tips and tricks on what you have, starting off with what used to be what our Jersey Bay was prominently on, the sand eels. So
Okay.
What do you use plug-wise when there's sand eels around?
Okay, sand eels, naturally you want a slender profile. One of the lures that you must have in your bag is the tsunami sand eel. They've come in 3 different sizes, usually a 6, 8, and a 9-inch.
Okay.
And the sand eels this year, the ones that are around, are on the larger size. So that would be an important lure. And needlefish. This is the new version from Hoagie Lures. It's a stubby, he calls it. It's 2 ounces, and they cast like a rocket, and they track along the bottom like a sand eel.
Nice.
So that would be an important lure also. And then metals, any kind of metals, small profile, and naturally Ava-style jigs. These are a must to have in your bag when the sand eels are around. They're fish catchers.
Yeah. And you could save them because the December season is usually when we see our sand eels. So instead of hanging your red and green Ava jigs on your Christmas tree, you should be throwing them out in the surf. You should still be fishing around the holiday season. And then what if we have a peanut bunker around?
Peanuts, I'm going to use a smaller size lure generally.
Okay.
Something like smaller size shads. There's storms, the tsunami versions. These are a must. And if they're a little bit bigger, we're going to the mid-size shads. These are the heavies.
Yeah.
6-inch. And 2 weeks ago, I was fortunate enough to win Castaways tournament.
There you go.
With a 45.5-inch striper on this lure.
So the proof is in the pudding right there on the shad.
They're a must to have for sure. And then crankbaits, smaller size crankbaits, SP minnow styles. This is a new tsunami version.
Yeah.
These are a must also, in all different colors.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of white though, generally.
I was gonna say, based off of the color spread you have, or the lack of color spread here, you're a white guy. I like white too.
It shows up in a water column,
Yes.
any white. And then if there's bigger bait, the metal lip swimmers are going to be important.
Definitely.
In smaller sizes, like we call them the peanut size, and then the larger size bunker. Big bunker, metal lip swimmers are a must when they're close enough to cast. These are the spooks. The dock is probably one of the most popular today. Very important lure to have in. It's got a tantalizing action. It just has that sway in motion, and it kind of makes them mad, and they just come out and attack it. So you're going to want to have them, and they're usually like a 3-ounce version. This is a custom wood style. The other choice would be pencil poppers in all different colors and everything. I generally use white, but I figured that's a nice color to show.
I like that too. It's very pretty.
And this is these are a custom one from Salty Degenerate.
Okay.
Makes a beautiful plug.
Yeah.
But that would be, a go-to. And then your traditional poppers. I want that commotion on top.
Of course, yeah.
And then this season, it's a $100 lure, but they're very, very effective. Guys are using them in the backwaters right now, and the boat guys are doing phenomenal. And last Tuesday, a lot of guys that were throwing them from the surf did well.
Yes.
So this imitates the large bunker.
I mean, look at that. You open boaters recognize this from last week's episode where we went out with Jesse from Stride Baits, and he was talking about how to work his lure. So you're seeing it. Shelly has it, so you know what's up.
I know when I bought this, my son was with me at one of the flea markets that he was at, and then as soon as he walked in the house, he said to my wife, "Oh, look what Dad bought for $100."
But how many fish have you caught or have you seen caught on that this season?
I got one nice one up in South Amboy a couple weeks back when they were in there, and then on the beach, quite a few. But again, the season's been tough. I'm not going to say it's been challenging.
But if you put your work in, you'll get fish.
Yeah, and you got to jump around.
Yeah.
I mean, like the last few days, it's been pretty quiet, unfortunately. But it's the middle of the month, and we're anticipating having a good run, and hopefully we'll see more peanut bunker and adult bunker and have a tremendous fall.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely. Hopefully by Thanksgiving time.
I know.
Because I'm skipping Thanksgiving dinner and I'll be out here, so.
I know a lot of my friends a few years back, they were late for dinner. Hopefully that happens.
Hopefully it does. I remember those Thanksgiving mornings and working at the shop, you say, you got to come down here at Thanksgiving because that's when it happens. So. Hopefully, fingers crossed that happens. And stay tuned because we have a double feature with Shelly. I gotta have you on camera more. So stay tuned for next week's open boat because Shelly's gonna be sharing all of his years of experience. He just shared us some tips on what's in his plug bag, but he's gonna reference past seasons and how seasons change and how the fishery changes and how surfcasters have to stay positive with how things are changing and just
100%.
go out there and fish, go out there and fish.
100%. All right.
All right, I'm gonna take this with me.
Oh, sure.
As a parting gift, and I'll see you out there.
Sounds good.
By the way, Jenny is running her Fall Run Striper Challenge. So while the bite is hot, email her your submissions, your biggest boat bass, your biggest beach striper, a striper that was caught with your favorite lure, lady anglers getting it done, the kids getting it done. Details are in the full open boat, Jenny's regular Sunday feature. It premieres on our YouTube page every Sunday, but if you want to email Jenny, it's Jackerman, jackerman@thefisherman.com. Now, Jenny passed this along to me this week as well. One of her buddies passed this along. The U.S. Army Corps is missing a couple of buoys. They're actually ADCP devices, acoustic Doppler current profilers, and they've gone missing someplace between Manasquan and Barnegat. So if you happen to find one of these strange-looking buoys, call 601-634-2736 or 601-529-4623. Now keep in mind, too, that while you're out there chasing the stripers by boat, those stripers are all over the bunker schools and you're working a hot school, well, those bluefin are in the mix as well. Vinny Voraro was out on the Sea-Doo again, the Fish Pro with son Luke on Saturday. They had 6 bass in the 38 to 40 inch class, and they also had this bluefin busting on bait near their personal watercraft. Some pretty cool stuff. By the way, the International Commission for the Conservation of Atlantic Tunas, ICAT, they're meeting this week in Spain. The U.S. delegation led by NOAA Assistant Administrator for Fisheries, Genio Pinheiro Soler. Let's hope that Genio and our fisheries delegates from the United States return home from Spain next week with a whole bunch of bluefin quota for the 26th season. More on this in upcoming editions of the Fisherman magazine. It's something we've been following, of course, since bluefin was closed right before Labor Day. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the December edition of the Fisherman magazine is out this week. Our annual collection of gift ideas for the angler on your list this season, or maybe just for you, as the case may be. Excuse me. It harkens back to the days of Christmas catalogs, those catalogs that we grew up with. We used to get them in the mail every season. Well, this one is just focused on tackle, apparel, electronics, and more, available here in our Northeast region. Turn to the table of contents in that New Jersey, Delaware Bay edition for the local story lineup. You've got Tog Tips by Rich Pizzari, proper striper handling with Himar Stephen Makalaba, a profile on 70 years for the Manasquan Fishing Club. Happy birthday. Written up by Jenny Ackerman. An intro to rod building, a piece by Mike Garone. If you plan on building a rod this season, he's got all the tips and the ingredients and the materials you're going to need to get into rod building. If you go to page 12, my full written report from the ASMFC meeting in Dewey Beach, Delaware on the striped bass decision last month. Some folks had been wondering why all those public hearings in September. It seemed like it was such a toss-up which direction it was going to go. And then all of a sudden the ASMFC meets in Dewey Beach and it's an overwhelming vote of status quo. Well, when you read the full article, you'll get a better understanding of exactly how MRIP, the Marine Recreational Information Program, impacted the decision. Now, in a nutshell, the ASMFC technical folks had forecasted an over mortality, more dead stripers in 2025. They said we're going to see more dead stripers, according to MRIP, in 2025, and that's going to knock us off of the rebuilding track, and it's going to cause us to need a 12% reduction to meet that increase in mortality. Well, the early numbers from spring of 2025 show that MRIP is indicating that the mortality in the recreational community is actually 44% down. So when these actual MRIP numbers were presented to the ASMFC in late October, these numbers weren't available during the public hearings in September. It showed that things were off to a slow start in the spring and that the 12% reduction wasn't necessarily in need, that we didn't have to do it for the rebuilding. Now, with things off to a slow start this fall, I'm kind of wondering if the MRIP numbers for all of 2025 are going to be down on striped bass. That's going to cut both ways, by the way, because if the MRIP numbers are down in 2025, that's going to feed into the next benchmark assessment. This is all confusing stuff. This is the management process, but we'll know more about that in 2027. But if there's less numbers coming out of MRIP, then sometimes ASMFC thinks there are less stripers out there. New Jersey's bag limit for Tautog is back up to 5 fish this week. Your 15-inch size limit, that's the way it's going to stay through the end of this year. Again, I mentioned Rich Bizzari's NJ Tautog Tips. That's an article worth reading on page 16 of the December edition of the Fisherman magazine. When you get it, expect to find those keepers on the inlet jetties and back bay snags throughout the month. And as I mentioned in that December edition, our holiday gift guide as well.
The December glossy edition of the Fisherman magazine is out now, just in time for the holidays. This issue is the Fisherman magazine's holiday gift guide. Pages and pages of cool gift ideas for you and that angler in your life. The latest rods, reels, electronics, lures, tools, clothing. It's all here and more. And don't forget, the magazine makes a great gift as well. When you subscribe, you get 12 glossy print editions, 26 digital editions to your inbox, this past weekend's reports, full access to the website, and more. As a subscriber, you could also be part of the Dreamboat Challenge and win a new Steigercraft powered by Yamaha. And you can compete for a rigged-out kayak from Yak Attack. Subscribe now.
World-famous fishing action. Plan your perfect trip today. Tropic Star Lodge, the ultimate in fishing adventures for more than 60 years.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites.
We're in the home stretch now on the Fisherman magazine's Dreamboat Fishing Challenge. Certifiable species right now, black sea bass, tautog, and porgies. There are plenty of New Jersey headboats making that run now to the wrecks. For those looking for some of those tasty critters, even as some of us have gone striper nutso, guilty as charged. For a leaderboard update for the Dreamboat, let's check in with our virtual studios and Tim C. Smith.
There's still time left in the Dreamboat Fishing Challenge. The deadline is November 30th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. There have been no new entries this week, so the leaderboard remains the same. In third place is Ahmed Solomon with 19 points. Second place is Thomas Luciano with 20 points. And in first place is Rashawn Williams with 27 points.
After nearly a month of relative inactivity, the Coastal Kayak Clash crackled back to life, revealing that the 2025 CKC is poised to wrap up as a true photo finish. Bob Wagner started the bidding with a 24-inch blackfish that appeared to put the New Jersey CKC veteran in the lead, but Todd Treons entered a 20.25-inch sea bass the very same day that would downgrade one of Wagner's prior catches, locking all three of our top competitors into a virtual tie and leaving the tiebreakers to sort out the seeding. So the top three remained unchanged. We have Rothan Nong in first place, Dustin Stevens in second, Bob Wagner in third, all with 6 points. This means if any one of these anglers puts an unanswered fish on the scoreboard before the end of the event, they take over the top spot. And don't sleep on Mr. Todd Treons either. A 24.25-inch tautog would allow him to swoop in from off the podium and steal the lead at the last minute.
Introducing the Yak Attack Sandrig Surf Cart, the ultimate beach hauler for serious anglers. Glide effortlessly over soft sand with wide balloon wheels and lightweight, corrosion-resistant construction that's completely customizable with options. Whether it's rods, coolers, or tackle, haul it all with ease. Built by surf fishermen and engineered by Yak Attack.
As I mentioned before, we still have tautog on the jetties. The fall water temperatures at this point, they're not chilling off the way they used to, so tautog are not moving offshore. You still have plenty of opportunity to get some of those tautog on the inlet jetties and the back bay bridges and snags in the back bays. Now, it was about a year ago this time I was down talking to Nick at Hands 2 Bait and Tackle in Cape May, and he said while waiting for the migratory run of striped bass, didn't know if they'd ever show up. He was thankful that this 5-fish bag limit in November coincided with warmer temperatures because folks were still getting the green crabs and having a blast at places like the Cold Springs Inlet Jetty and all those other Cape May inlet jetties as well. So that's good news for terra firma tautog fishermen all the way up to Atlantic City and Brigantine. In fact, out of Brigantine, Andy at Riptide Bait and Tackle said Billy M. took over the lead in the tautog division of the Riptide Derby with a 3-pound, 10-ounce tautog caught on a Riptide green crab. saying the bite continues to be strong on the brigantine side of the Absecon jetty. Now, sadly, I was hoping to give this other brigantine tournament a big plug this weekend, the annual Brigantine Elks Tournament. Andy posted this week that the Elks Tournament for this weekend has been canceled due to low registration, no doubt due to the very slow start to the 2025 fall run. But hopefully this means we're going to have stripers in Atlantic and Cape May County all the way through December. I know that doesn't help if your boat's not in the water anymore, but let's hope we've got a good run going. I mentioned the Miss Fortescue making a run last week for Tautog and striped bass. Apparently that trip went very well. So you might want to check on that if you're looking for another opportunity out of Fortescue. Check in with a Miss Fortescue. And I'll tell you what, if they're catching stripers down in the Delaware Bay, boy, wouldn't it be great if the Cape May rips caught fire again? More events to tell you about coming up. Charlie's Surf Turkey, a fishing flea market in Rahway. News of a brand new reef deployment outside of Manasquan. And I've got some more of those videos of bunker mashed up in the wash to share with you this week. But first, let's check in for our freshwater update with George Shower, Pocono Outdoors Guy.
Well, hey, thanks, Jim. Not too many folks checking in this week. You know, weather's been kind of rough. We had some high winds over the past weekend, and temperatures are getting downright cold. We're really starting to see those lakes turn over. It's much warmer down about 20, 30 feet than it is on the surface. So a lot of those fish are going deep. A couple of tips as well. I was talking to Dylan Nussbaum last year, and he's a National Walleye Tour pro, and he says, you know, you get up in those shallow waters, and he likes to fish them this time of year, even though the water's so cold, because the fish that are up in those shallow flats, they are up there to eat and they are chewing. So if you get a chance to get in that water, I know the boat launches are out, guys, but if you can get a boat or a kayak out in some of these waters, don't be afraid to hit some of these shallow flats. You know, rip a soft plastic right up off the shoreline. We got jerk baits that work well up on that shoreline as well on those flats. And those fish, again, they're up there to eat. They're hungry. So a little tip there, guys. It won't be too much longer. I mean, we're already, third week of November. We're going to start talking about ice in a couple weeks. So it's a good time. Get through your gear, look at some jigs, get your tip ups in order. So there's a lot of things this time of year you can do to get ready for the upcoming hard water season. Hopefully we got a few folks that'll be checking in. We had my friend Josh Taylor check in. He's getting the last of his guide trips out of the way for the year, and he did manage to get a couple of guys on some striper and some other fish over this past week, but things are starting to wrap up, again, getting ready for the ice season over the next several weeks. Guys, be sure you check in and tell us exactly what you're getting into, but from Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors Guy.
From the Pocono Mountains, the Pacific coast of Costa Rica, let's check in with Captain Ben. Yes, he returns from Capos.
How's everyone going up there? This is Ben Gilmore from Jackpot Sport Fishing here at the Marina Pez Vela, Costa Rica. We're just getting our new season going down here in Costa Rica. November is the official start of our high season, and just the other day on Saturday, we had our first tournament of the year, the Dorado Derby. 53 boats joined the tournament, and a 49-pound bull Dorado was the winning fish, taking home almost $70,000. Huge congrats, guys. What a fish. We got off to a good start this past week. Yesterday we caught 16 Dorados. 4 of those were on fly, which was just an epic day. We've caught some nice rooster fish the last few days, up to 51 inches. Beautiful fish. And we've hooked blue marlin, black marlin, sailfish, and tuna all in the past week as well. So we're off and running here, guys, in Costa Rica. We're just having the last of our rains over the next week or two, and then the dry season for the next 5 or 6 months is upon us. Would love to see you guys down here in Costa Rica. Give us a call. This is Ben Gilmore from Jackpot Sport Fishing.
This Saturday, November 22nd, you have the 29th annual Rahway Fishing Flea Market, the Fall Fishing Flea Market. That's from 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. at St. Thomas Church Hall. That's at 1400 St. George's Avenue in Rahway. Admission is $5. Children 12 and under are free. If you want details, go to fishingfleamarkets.com. You can also dial 718-702-5838. All the information is in the November edition of the Fisherman magazine. Hopefully you still have that at home, because you also have the information about next week. Family, food, fiesta, football, and fishing. Thanksgiving is fast approaching and should be a great time to hit the beaches of Ocean County from Island Beach State Park up to Point Pleasant. Be sure to register now for the 14th annual Surf Turkey Tournament presented by Charlie's Bait and Tackle at 485 Route 35 North in Normandy Beach. $2,000 prize for first place this season. Register by 5 p.m. on Tuesday before Thanksgiving. The fishing begins on Wednesday, runs through Saturday. Visit Charlie's in Normandy or call him. Call Petey over at Charlie's Bait and Tackle for details, 732-793-1144. You also have the Berkeley Striper Club's 15th annual Ponytail Mike Malik and Tom Grumpy Hansen Memorial Striped Bass Catch and Release Tournament. That's next week as well. It gets underway 5 a.m. on November 26th. If you want details, go to berkeleystriperclub.org. Hey, congrats to William Coppola, who pops up in these reports on a regular basis. He won the last big weekend tournament along that stretch. Last weekend's Poseidon event saw a lot of out-of-town folks fishing that tournament. I was at the top of the World in Brick, and I couldn't believe how many trucks were driving into Maniloking. It was creeping me out. Anyway, it was only a 31-inch catch and release striper that won that event last week for Billy Coppola. My guess is you can add another foot or so to the Surf Turkey champs in that entry next week. Of course, the LBI Surf Fishing Classic, that continues on and through the end of this month. Some great prizes to be had, especially during the Thanksgiving rush along the beaches of LBI next week. If you want details, you can still enter that tournament. You can stop into Surf City Bait and Tackle, Fish Heads in Ship Bottom, or Jingles Bait and Tackle in Beach Haven. Always a great time to be on the beaches of LBI around the holidays. Some news for you. The New Jersey Division of Fish and Wildlife keeping busy off the beach with artificial reef deployments. Most recent being a 55-foot commercial vessel, the Sea Ann, deployed at Manasquan Inlet Reef. That's the 9th deployment on that relatively new reef site in New Jersey. The deployment was made possible by donations from the Greater Point Pleasant Charter Boat Association, Bill Cleary of Brielle, and Depth Charge Marine. It sits at approximately 40 degrees 23.4 north by 73 degrees 51.8 west. Excuse me, I'm going to continue to shake this cold. And why don't I leave you with this, some exciting video. This was shot on Tuesday. I love this. I love seeing bunker piled up along the beach. But I'm telling you, good luck this Saturday along the beach. Remember, while I'm gone, while I'm enjoying bed and breakfast and walking around with my honey's hand, I love this. No, that's a nice shop. We should go into this shop. You remember this Saturday to play nicely with others by boat or by beach. The Striper Run is in full effect at this point, and crowds can be expected. So try to be as patient as possible, because you're going to have crowds no matter what. So you just got to breathe deep, namaste, and be sure to be friendly to those you're fishing next to, because when the bunker are at your feet, you can expect a crowd.